A character you want to play in the future. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this character before in one of the videos, if not one of these, maybe even the Animal Planet videos, but I've wanted to make a Gripply gunslinger. Frog was one of my favorite characters from Chrono Trigger. And the idea of like the Frog Prince and what have you has always been, I don't know why I like frogs so much, but I do like frogs. I wouldn't say frogs are one of my favorite creatures, but I do like frogs. I like Kermit the Frog too. He's pretty awesome. Anyway, Frog was an inspiration, but there was another character that I wanted to play back in 3rd edition, back when I saw the firearms rules in the DMG, which was someone who just woke up on a beach somewhere, and one of the only possessions he had was a gun and some ammo, and he was amnesiac, but he somehow remembered how to use and repair the gun. I combined that with the frog when I read the advanced race guide for Pathfinder, which had Gripply in it, and then I just thought, I need to play a Gripply gunslinger. Some swamp-dwelling dude who climbs up trees and shoots people from afar. Small-size gunslingers do not work out very well mechanically. If you want to be a gunslinger, you really want to be using like pistols, and you want to be medium size, and that's sort of like the most effective way to play a gunslinger, but it's not necessarily the most fun way. And I want to play a little guy hiding up in the trees, picking people off. It just seems cool to me. And that Gripply gunslinger is probably the character that is one of the characters that I want to play in the future. There's plenty of character ideas and all those character parties that I've made in the past where I could pick any one of them and play them again. Play them for the first time. I wanted to avoid mentioning any of the characters I've played before that I'd want to play again, like Strovil. Strovil never really gets a good enough break in a game. But that's one of the guys that I would really like to try playing again in the appropriate game. Another one, I'm in 2 games right now, and in both of those games, we are allowed to, and in fact are supposed to have a backup character. And the great and powerful Trexler's second string is Knuckles. My name is Knuckles, and I punch people. I'm half folk. Me mum was half folk, me da was half folk. And from me mum, I got the orc half, and from me da, I got the human half, and that makes me an half orc. That's the math behind that. I love Knuckles. I've played Knuckles before. Knuckles died in the game, but I wouldn't mind bringing Knuckles back. And in the other game, we don't really have a good ranged character, so I was thinking about creating a ranger who focuses, or actually a fighter or ranger who focuses on archery and just, shoots people with arrows. There's plenty of ways I could do that. The way I did it before was as Mikhail, and I enjoyed playing Mikhail a lot, but Mikhail has too much invested in him to bring him back into a game. Strovil has a lot invested in him too, but Strovil didn't evolve quite as organically in one game like Mikhail did. So I don't feel like bringing Mikhail back as much. But maybe another type of ranged character. I did have a warlord, when they brought out the ranged warlord in 4th edition, I played a Water Soul Genasi ranged warlord, and I really didn't like it very much compared to my regular tactical warlord. I forget what they call the ranged one. Cunning warlord or something like that. But I could remake her as an archer character who shoots people with a bow. And I think that would work out really well. You'll note that for the most part right now what I'm talking about is what I'm going to do mechanically in the game rather than the personality and stuff of the character. And that's really kind of how most of my characters are created. When I've created a character and sat down at the table and I have a very clear idea of what their personality should be, it all goes out the window once the game starts. Because I prefer to allow a character's personality to develop in the first couple games, because those times that I have planned things out, it didn't work out that way in-game. And in fact, most of my absolute most favorite characters, like Candlejack, Strovil, Mikhail, Cervantes, their playstyle from the role-playing perspective, did not match up with completely with how I envisioned them when I created the character at the beginning. However, mechanically, I want my characters to play out a certain way because, every battle I'll be shooting people with a bow. So I want to make sure that my character's put together in a way that when I'm shooting with a bow every turn, it's a way that I find fun. Similar for any of the other characters. So I get a mechanical hook, because that mechanic is going to go over and over and over again, and you don't really get to change the mechanics up like you can with role, right? Like you can with the character, the personality, the motivation, etc., etc. That can change and develop, because that's how real people change and develop. But the rules that govern the firing of an arrow are going to govern the firing of an arrow. So you better get that right from the beginning. This is actually going to be a short video because of that. There's plenty of characters I'd like to play. As I mentioned in an earlier video, I usually make my character last when I play in a group, so I fill in holes. And based on the way the party is set up, I create a character that fits that party. A lot of times I can draw on one of these past characters I've created, particularly when my brother and I were just creating parties of characters for no actual game, but just as exercises in fantasy and imagination. So I can usually pull some character that I've created before and had thoughts of before. But otherwise, I try to tailor fit whatever I'm creating to serve the party best. All right. Until next time, bye-bye.